sort of having patience and sort of almost maintaining your composure, but being able to kind of wait things out, not trying to control the outcome, maybe like letting go of the wheel a little bit, let go and let God, sort of just let Jesus take the wheel, sort of let things play out how they may. This situation may require patience, it may require grace, it may require you not controlling the narrative, it may require you kind of letting your emotions out, your old emotions, your old thoughts, your old patterns, your old habits, and maybe refilling it with something fresh. And there's nothing wrong with what you've been doing before because it got you to where you are right now. It served its purpose. But maybe we're needing to turn a fresh page. Maybe we're needing to start fresh without the old tainted emotions, without the old narrative. Maybe we've been replaying a certain narrative for a little bit too long. And maybe it's shaped who we are today. Spirit is showing me when I was misdiagnosed at 18 with bipolar disorder, and at the time it really made sense to me because my emotions were so out of whack and I was so outrageous. And when they told me I had bipolar, I said, well, that makes sense. That adds up. That completely adds up. And I took the medication and I went up until the age of 22. So for 4 years, I thought, this is what it is. This is my life. This is what I have to come to terms with. This is who I am. And it wasn't until 24, and keep in mind, I have been diagnosed several times with bipolar because once you tell the doctor that, you may switch doctors, you may get a new provider, you may need to redo your meds, you may move locations, all of these times that I've had to go through it. And every doctor has just confirmed, yeah, bipolar, cool, here's your medication, have a great day. I said, cool. It wasn't until I was 22, maybe 23, and I went in and he said, you don't have bipolar. And I said, no, I absolutely do. It had become so much a part of my identity that that's who I was and that's what it was. And that made sense because that checked off all the boxes in my head of like the resolution that it needed to be, which was cure my mental health, because it's a mental health issue and I have no control over it. This does not ring true for everybody, and I'm not giving any sort of medical advice. I'm stating my personal experience, okay? He said, you don't have bipolar. I said, no, something's wrong with me, absolutely. He said, well, you have BPD. You don't have bipolar. You have BPD. And I said, no, that's not true. I was not willing to accept that narrative because I had already owned the other narrative. That was my narrative. That made sense to me. And although the medications never worked, they did a little bit, right? But there was still something there that was a bit off. The patterns and the cycles did not quite match bipolar. It wasn't the typical bipolar 1, bipolar 2, where you either have long episodes or short episodes, and there was no cyclical anything that went to it. It was just complete outrageous moods all the time. I didn't even know what BPD was, so I didn't accept that narrative, and it wasn't until 27, 5 more years, that I had another doctor tell me. And I said, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I have both, because I wasn't willing to give up bipolar. That's who I was. I had owned it. But in doing so, I wasn't able to work through the root cause of what I was going through. 2012 on the timer is fucking wild. 2012 and 2014 could be very significant for you guys. It is for me. Maybe while I'm telling my story, I'm confirming this for somebody, that this may have nothing to do with bipolar disorder. This is just something to do with you claiming a narrative that was given to you that maybe made sense at the time. And maybe you claiming that narrative really helped you get to where you are right now. And that's wonderful. At least in my mind, I thought I had bipolar. And so I addressed it and I went to counseling and I was taking medication, and I at least could, get through some things with a little bit of understanding. Even if that wasn't what it was. Maybe at the time I couldn't handle that I had BPD and hearing there is no cure. There is no medication you can take. There is nothing that you can do other than acknowledge what the fuck is going on in your brain, and you're still going to be fucked up. And I couldn't hear that at the time. Maybe that would have sent me over the edge. So maybe I had to believe the bipolar narrative because it gave me a little bit of comfort to understand maybe, I was born with it. Because BPD, you're not born with it. You have to really look at the facts and turn to your parent and say, bitch, you did this to me. This was done to me. Somebody shattered me and betrayed me and put me through devastating situations in my childhood. But I still was in connection with her. That I wasn't born like this. You did this to me. Maybe I couldn't accept that at the time, so I had to think that it was bipolar. To be fair, I wasn't familiar with either one of those things, but I think if I would have started to research it, maybe those feelings would have come up, and I wouldn't have been able to handle that and heal at the same time. With the bipolar narrative, I was able to focus on my healing, right, for the most part, but it still put a block, because I was able to say, oh, I'm having these moods because I'm bipolar. It's just a cycle. I wasn't able to look at the underlying cause, right?